The company has a great return policy.
I wore it for 6 seasons.
Well, at least your home and auto are protected with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now boarding Group A. Please have your boarding passes ready to scan. If your phone is cracked, old, or was chewed up by your Chihuahua travel companion, please refrain from holding up the line. We ask that you kindly not be that guy, and instead simply go to Verizon and trade in any phone from their top brands in any condition on any unlimited plan for the new Samsung Galaxy S25 with Galaxy AI. With new line on my plan. Additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Atlanta Braves spring training is on from Florida, and this 2025 Brave squad is ready to get after it in Northport.
And he waylays this thing way downtown. Swung on a fly ball, deep left center field, heading towards the gap. That is down for a base hit. Acuna hits the bag at third. Here he comes. Michael Harris taking no prisoners. It's a sweep.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's daily update on Bama sports and it's brought to you by Guthrie's. America's original chicken finger restaurant is an official partner of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For franchise information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On yesterday's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we were joined by Alabama softball senior Kaylin Riley. How meaningful is it to have Senior Day coming up this weekend?
It means a lot to me because I'll have so many different supporters from all different walks of life. And I can't wait to go out there and just see everyone and get to interact with more people, but also to see my people that I have been through the journey with and that have supported me since I was a freshman in high school.
It gets pretty emotional on Senior Day. You ready for that?
Oh, yeah. I cried making my video, so there will most definitely be tears shed.
Well, that's really cool. Great your family and so many people get to come see you play this year as this Crimson Tide team. We're still a few weeks away from SEC play starting. What's going to be most important for this group over the next few weeks before conference action begins?
Just staying together and trusting the process because there will be highs and lows, but as long as we stay together and stay level, it'll work its way through it.
I'll have more in a moment.
Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers, an Alabama tailgate tradition. Founded in Haleyville, Alabama in 1965, Guthrie's has been a Bama fan favorite for years. From your hometown to college towns all around, Guthrie's is still serving the family's original Southern fried chicken recipe, just like always, fresh, hot, and fast. Make Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers the MVP of your next tailgate. Guthrie's, America's original chicken finger restaurant and now an official partner of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For franchise information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com.
If you missed yesterday's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, catch it on demand on all CTSN social media platforms at UA_CTSN. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Guthrie's. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you go. 7 o'clock on the dot. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We're back. We're live, and we're brand new. It is a Friday morning in the Rocket City. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed. Should be a perfect day in the Tennessee Valley. Plenty of sunshine. High should get anywhere up around 66 degrees today. So get on out and enjoy a beautiful start to the weekend. Again, safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed. A little bit of history made last night on the basketball court in Livingston, Alabama. The UAH Chargers become the first team in school history to accomplish not one, but two things on the season last night. Number one, the first team in school history to go undefeated in conference play. They end up going 22-0. The previous record for conference wins in a season came 2 years ago when the conference expanded to 24 conference games. UAH in West Alabama, 19 wins. That was the mark. West Georgia accomplished the feat last year with 19 wins. Last night, the Chargers netted their 22nd conference win. Can't get any more than that, 22-0, because Shorter left the conference, West Georgia left the conference, and so he could only play 22 conference games. They also completed a perfect road record in 2024-25. They went 12-0 away from Spraggins Hall thanks to their never in doubt 78-60 win last night on the road at West Alabama. The game was never in doubt, so the Chargers get it done. We're happy for them.
Yeah, no question about it. We'll hear from Mick Hedgepeth at the top of the second hour, and I believe they're the third Gulf South Conference team to ever go undefeated, the first UAH one to do so, and as you said, the first one to go 22-0. So that's something to hang your hat on, and their only loss was on a neutral court to Nova,
who, by the way, is number one in the South region.
Yeah.
So that's going to prevent UAH from hosting the NCAA regionals. They will have to travel to Nova Southeastern. There's really no way now at this point that can be changed, unfortunately, but that's just the way it's going to happen.
Yeah, they lost by 1 to them the first game of the year, and otherwise they would be number one. They might even be number one in the country. So overall, but it's been an unbelievable first year for Mick Hedgepeth. I mean, it was a great game last night. You know, you had Tommy Murr. I think he had 23 points in 24 minutes, and Big Daniel Saylor had 19 points and 16 rebounds. And I lost track how many blocks.
He had a good night.
Yeah, it sounded like they dominated the game, and certainly West Alabama is going to be in the tournament, but sounds like the opponents for everyone are not going to be decided until Saturday night.
Well, UAH will play Lee. They
did figure it out. I was listening to
UAH figured it out. They figured it out on the bus on the way home.
Right.
So they're going to play Lee. Now the women, there's a little bit of jockeying still to do, but because of everything last night and how it all played out, they're going to get Lee on Tuesday.
And that'll be a doubleheader on Super Tuesday over at Spraggins Hall.
Women got a win last night, 66-48 over West Alabama. Alan Sharp made a triumphant return to West Alabama, where he coached the men's team to a couple NCAA tournaments.
Yeah, from 2014 to 2020, and sounded like he was a popular guy when he walked in I'll call it a gym since it's so small.
It's small, and it's not a lot of space in that ballroom.
Yeah.
Big thanks to Talent Heating and Air for helping us kick off hour number one. Make sure you give them a call, 256-503-4490. Let them put their talent to work for you. It's Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call this morning, this afternoon, whenever, or you can find them online at talenthvac.com. Alabama women last night get a win over LSU, 88-85. And that's a huge win because earlier in the day, the NCAA released their women's top 16 seeds. Before that game was played, they released it. Alabama was not in the top 16, according to the NCAA, before the game. Ohio State, Kansas State, and Kentucky were 14, 15, and 16. Not in that order. Kentucky, Kansas State, Ohio State. That's the order. Alabama was not in that 16, but they get the ups. Now, you can call it an upset win over LSU last night at home. That could potentially vault them into the top 16.
I think it should, but Roger Hoover did tell us he felt like they needed the 2 wins They got a great win last night despite Mo, Larry, Curley, and Shemp trying to screw them out of it and give it to Kim Mulkey. It was absolutely atrocious. Some of the calls down the stretch where they were basically trying to just hand it to LSU on a silver platter. It actually looked fixed, to be honest with you, that basically Mulkey couldn't possibly lose to Alabama. So we've got to come up with one BS call after another and one review after another where Alabama gets fouled, but then we turn around and call Alabama for a flagrant and give LSU the ball and free throws. But ball don't lie, as they say. So a young lady from LSU choked on one of the free throws, then got the shot blocked. It was all ball. Surprised they didn't call a hack and give her 2 more free throws. But again, it's always good to see Mulkey lose and have to walk off the court in that atrocious wardrobe that she wears. But again, she was very complimentary of Alabama after the game and things of that nature. But again, it was officiating is just terrible on the college level. It's absolutely a joke. I mean, at least in my opinion, it is. The games are way too long because these idiots have to review everything, and then they make up, flagrant fouls because of probably they go on FanDuel and have a bet on the game, and the idiot SEC or whoever the hell oversees the officials doesn't do a good enough job of policing it. But again, Alabama won the game 88-85, and it was a big win for Coach Curry. I mean,
first AP top 10 win in 13 years for Alabama.
Yeah, I was going to say it's definitely the biggest win of this season and amongst the top 2 or 3 probably of her career. I mean, certainly LSU going in, I believe, was a 2 seed. So they're an outstanding team. They were 27-2 coming in, but and Alabama did it without Aaliyah Nye. She had 28, but she had fouled out in the game, and then of course, due to one of these atrocious reviews and, just make it up as you go along. So they fouled out Sarah Ashley Barker, in the overtime. But Alabama found a way to get it done, get the defensive stop. Zay Green made a couple of big free throws to stretch it out to a 3-point lead. Now, they had to survive an LSU missed 3, and I was surprised that there wasn't a phantom foul called to give the girl 3 free throws to give them at least a chance to tie the game. But again, karma won out, and Alabama was the better team last night and won the game. And now they give themselves a chance. They go to Oklahoma and Norman on Saturday to play another top 15 team. And so if they could win that game, I think it absolutely cements a top 4 seed. May have anyway, but again, it would be major for the program. That hasn't happened since the late 90s under, Rick Moody. So we'll see because that gives you a major advantage. We've talked about this in the women's version of the tournament because
you're at home.
Yeah, the first 2 rounds, the round of 32 and of course the round of 64, you are in. You are at home on your campus. So Alabama certainly is in the conversation to make sure and cement it. I think winning at Oklahoma would certainly help. Oklahoma is a very good program, but we'll see. But certainly the ladies have put themselves in a major position now to be a host in the first 2 rounds of the tournament, which would be massive for the program.
We still have the Conference USA Championship trophy here in studio. And don't forget, the Conference USA Championship is coming to the Von Braun Center. Last night, a battle for first place was on the line, and Liberty knocks off Jack State 59-55. So as of right now, Liberty is your number 1 team in the Conference USA on the men's side, followed by Jack State at number 2. And Middle Tennessee is number 3 in the Conference USA standing. So that was a lot of basketball last night. There'll be a lot of basketball on the college level going on tomorrow. 97.7 ESPN The Zone will have some of that for you. Don't forget, Alabama will be traveling to Knoxville tomorrow, 6 versus 5. Tip-off set for 3. Pregame will be at 2. 97.7 ESPN The Zone, your home for that. And don't forget, you can wake up with us tomorrow morning. Got to get up. We got a Saturday show playing for you from 9 to 11 at University Kia. We're going to go sell a car or 2 tomorrow. So
we got to go pimp your ride.
That would be fun, would it not?
So
Kia style.
There you go. I mean, we gotta hit our number, which is 5 cars in 2 hours. So everybody turn up at University Kia tomorrow, and come see Arthur and the crew. And it's one of the best Kia dealerships, not just in the Southeast, but in the United States. And they take care of all your new and used car needs. Their service department's outstanding. So please come out there. We'll talk some basketball in the morning. And speaking of that, was out at Birmingham yesterday. Scott, I know you guys are on the road for UAH and did a great job as UAH finished off an unbeaten conference regular season. Arguably the greatest regular season in Charger history, which is saying a lot, considering what Lenny Acuff built and the success John Shulman followed, and even K.O. Willis getting them to the national championship game back in the NAIA days. But certainly, I was out there and got a chance to see Ace Austin's last game. Speaking of Alabama and that program, they went out as you would expect and took care of business against a really scrappy, brilliant Tigers team. It was 73-43, but Ace Austin, just an unbelievable end to her career. 40 points in her final high school game, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, nearly another triple-double. And her teammates played outstanding too. She was 7 of 15 herself from three, but to tell you how good the team is, they hit 9 threes.
Right.
The rest of the young ladies, and they hit 16 out of 35, I think, overall from three-point land, and just eased away. Even though I will give Brilliant credit, man, they stayed in it. Especially early, made some shots and played really hard. But they had 2 young ladies, foul out of the game, and they only had 8 players, so it was tough. But certainly, the legacy is cemented for Spring Garden, and they've won 3 straight 1A state titles now. And when you count the 2 volleyball, that's 5 that they've won really in the last 730 something days. So that's pretty amazing stuff for those young ladies. And I'll say this: now that it's done, now that the mission's completed, it's very rare that you see a 1A girls team that is so good and so connected that, and you did the game, you saw it yourself. The Hazel Green Lady Trojans were going for 8 in a row themselves.
Right.
They lost a heartbreaker in double overtime to number 1 ranked Park Crossing. Probably should have won that game to have a chance to win 8 in a row. But we all know they went over to Spring Garden and took a 63-46 loss. You and Steve Moulton brought that to our listeners on 97.7 The Zone. So there is a very real argument you can make. And I've seen some of the other girls teams in the other classifications, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5 and 6, if this is a team that could win 1 through 6A, very, 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 legit opportunity to do that. I mean, 7
Hoover's on a different
Hoover and he's saying in Hillcrest, Tuscaloosa. That's difficult.
They're playing.
That's your 7A final.
Yeah,
so
that's an elite 7A final.
They might not be able. They could compete. Now, I don't know if they could win it.
Right.
But I think you can make a very real argument that this 1A ladies team could do that, and that's a testament to Ricky Austin. And this was, his 9th state championship as head coach. They've won 10 as a program. Just an amazing run for those young ladies.
Let's get Richard in before the break real fast. Good morning, Richard.
What's up, man?
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Hey, you guys were talking about, the time slots for basketball yesterday.
Right.
Moving them around. I'm a season ticket holder, and I don't really want a 5:30 or an 8:30 game. I mean,
I wouldn't do 8:30. I was more getting the first game started a little earlier, so it didn't, for example, what B. Rich was saying is on those 8 o'clock games, sometimes you miss 3/4 of the first half,
right?
And you're basically seeing half a game.
If they're going to do a 5:30 Central Time, though, people getting off work.
Yeah. Well, there's no perfect, formula, but just trying to kind of help folks that may want to, as far as especially that are watching on television, to do that. You never
keep in mind, lots of times too, when ESPN plans this, they're planning a lot of it on East Coast time.
Yeah. Well,
and so
7 Eastern, 6 Central.
Yep.
Tell you what, it's not every game, but you go look, almost every one of your Southeastern Conference teams have a 9 o'clock tip, though.
Yeah.
Now, they don't do a lot, but Kentucky will have 1 or 2, Florida, Georgia.
Arkansas has had a ton of them. They've had a ton of quote unquote prime time, late night, tip offs during the week and even on the weekend.
Yeah. The ACC used to do it a lot. To get all the games on. out. But I'm just saying, for fans watching on TV, it's good. But for somebody attending the game, at a 5:30 tip or like an 8:30 tip, makes it tough.
Mm-hmm.
Out. So, but the one thing on ESPN, you got all the other options where they'll start the game on, ESPN News or whatever.
Yeah, they do.
So,
as long as you get all the ESPN package, you have ESPN News. Yeah, usually that's what they do. They start it on another channel.
Like tomorrow at 1:00, Kansas is going to play Texas Tech on ESPN.
Yeah,
Alabama's at 3:00 on ESPN. So chances are tomorrow when you watch the Alabama game, it's not going to start on ESPN.
Especially with Don Daly and the morons calling 6,522 fouls, having 252 reviews.
You know how much referees get paid to do those big games like that, to do SEC games and Big 12 games and all that stuff? They get about $3,500 a game.
I was going to say at least 2,500, so I was a little under the number.
About $3,500 a game.
I've heard Teddy Television, which is Teddy Valentine. He's probably cut back, but at one time he was making $250,000 a year to put himself on TV.
Well, I mean, these guys, travel like crazy, and the only time they make money is, November to really till about this time, because once you get into tournament time, you're cutting down the number. After the first round of NCAA tournament, you're cutting way down on the games out. But like I said, it's the only time they make money. But a lot of times these guys will, travel like crazy.
Yeah, they can pick up lots of times. They'll pick up two games in a week. If you get 3,500 a week, you get 3,500 a game. You pick up 2 games a week. I mean, you're bringing around $7,000 in. I mean, you could be bringing $28,000 in a month doing some basketball games.
You're probably paying your own travel, though, I would think.
I don't know. I mean, but some of them are, but some of them probably you could probably get it tax off.
I wouldn't be surprised if the SEC provides them with travel, as far as, and what I mean by that is at least hotels
or something
in the cities where they are.
I would say hotel, because I mean, you could have, you were saying, Don Daly. Daly could be calling, tonight is Ivy League.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be calling Columbia and Penn tonight.
Depending on where you are, I mean, we've talked about Doug Schaus calling SWAC games.
Yeah, he's stopped up at Alabama A&M on his way back up to Nashville, and has done some Monday games during the Alabama A&M season. So,
but one thing, these guys get tired, unfortunately, depending on how many games they work. And, you're talking about, these crazy calls out, because I remember the one when Jermichael Green, I can't remember if he stepped out of, but they said he stepped out of bounds or didn't up in Nashville. The guy had flown in from like Washington State the game before. It was like, the guy was like, almost 70 years old and had called 5 games that week all over the U.S.
Yeah.
Out. So,
and
that was just my point on the, for the fans that are going to the games, though, moving the slots from 6 to 8, make it pretty tough to get to the games out. And one thing the SEC doesn't do is a lot of these 6 o'clock games, they don't start on Eastern time.
Right.
I mean, you'd think that'd be Georgia, South Carolina, Florida's, kind of standard, but you got a lot more central teams now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
all right, Richard.
See you guys later.
Thanks for the phone call, bub. All right, 7:19. How about we get our first timeout in? When we come back, college football conversations, interesting ones to say the least.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We got a good looking Friday morning going across the valley. I don't see anything accident-wise, no stalls, no traffic signal headaches. You be careful on your ride in this morning. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Eagle Masonry and Insulation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Conference USA is bringing its premier basketball event back to the Rocket City. Don't miss the 2025 Conference USA Basketball Championships March 11th through the 15th at the VBC Probst Arena, featuring 20 men's and women's basketball teams playing 18 games with CUSA titles and NCAA automatic bids on the line. Find out who's going to be putting on their dancing shoes. Tickets as low as $40. Visit Ticketmaster.com today to experience Conference USA hoops in the Rocket City, March 11th through 15th.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hey, do you have heating and air issues as the springtime starts to roll around? Hey, there's just one name you need to know: Talent Heating and Air. #1 heating and air business right here in the Tennessee Valley.
Yeah, we're locally based. If you call, you're going to get somebody based in Huntsville. Mentioned in spring earlier, we can actually do indoor air quality products, so we can help alleviate those allergy problems you're having in your house.
All right, Thomas from Talent Heating and Air, give them the number that when they call, somebody live and local will pick up.
That's 256-503-4490.
And you can always head to the World Wide Web and find Talent Heating and Air, and you guys will still respond.
That's talenthvac.com. If you don't want to talk to a person right away, you can fill out a form on there and get scheduled for a visit.
That's Talent Heating and Air. They're live, they're local. It's Talent Heating and Air.
AL certain number 21014.
We are your home for March Madness.
30 seconds to go. We're tied at 90. Here comes Suggs. Long three for the win.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, DeArmond. Welcome back into the show. College football conversation. Did you see Kalen DeBoer sat down with Pete Nakos from On 3 Sports? And Kalen DeBoer said some interesting things about recruiting the other day. And he said, and I quote, and it's everything that we've talked about in college football. He said that the regulation where we're all on an even playing field from the revenue sharing standpoint will help Alabama, just because now it'll come down to what is important in recruiting, and that's relationships and sharing your vision. DeBoer went on to say that people that want to be aligned with your vision and then come to a place like Alabama that has the resources, the tradition, the regulation, and having a more balanced playing field helps Alabama. It also allows them to get where it was at one point just a few years back, where the recruiting is real recruiting, not just someone who's going to put in the highest bid.
Yeah, I saw that, but there's some folks that cover Auburn for a living. Justin Hokanson, not Jason Caldwell, who's an outstanding guy, and
right?
The 24/7 staff, who I have a ton of respect for. The jokes over at Auburn on 3. He took a pot shot talking about basically inferring that Alabama's been buying players for years. Pretty funny. I guess Cam Newton was free back in the day, huh? When Auburn won their one national championship, since they had bars on the helmets.
Right.
So
But a more balanced playing field will help Alabama. I think the way that it's coming across is that Alabama does not or can't afford to get into a bidding war with teams.
Well, they don't. It's not they can't afford. They don't want to get into a bidding war, and you don't want to cause a caste system in your locker room, because your locker room can be a very unhealthy place.
Right.
It's well documented what some of these guys are making. I mean, you can't completely nail it down, but I think we all know Carson Beck is making an insane amount of money for transferring to Miami. And yes, his girlfriend also goes to the University of Miami, but let's not get it twisted. He left for two reasons. One, he got hurt. And two, he didn't have the kind of year he wanted to at Georgia. And three, it was transactional. I mean, because you're playing for a program at Georgia that's better than Miami, but you're taking the Miami gig because of what they're giving you. Some of these guys are making way too much money already. They're not worth the money they're getting paid in college. Okay, it's a joke. I mean, it's already gotten out of control, and that's why they're talking about revenue sharing. So, it is what it is. And Hugh Freeze, he's just a great, upstanding guy. You know what I'm saying? Never cheated in his life. I mean, give me a break.
They closed the article out.
Car salesman central.
They closed the article out by saying it's not like he being Kalen DeBoer actually wants a fully balanced playing field, just one that's differently balanced towards his program's strengths, like every coach.
And I'll say this in the defense of Hugh Freeze. I think he would want some sort of revenue sharing too. I mean,
I think a lot of coaches,
because I
like
think
this.
All of them have been driven crazy in some form or fashion by this system and having to pay these guys, because Auburn has spent money on some guys that Hugh Freeze has admitted, Percy Lewis, people like that didn't live up to what they were supposed to, didn't become the dominant left tackle that they wanted.
I think that's the intent of his words.
That's
the intent of what Kalen DeBoer wants to say.
Because you sign a guy like that who's a stiff, but then you get Keandre Lambert-Smith, and that was money well spent by Auburn. He was outstanding. I mean, one of the best. I thought maybe as good a wide receivers I saw play last year.
Right,
and that's without a quarterback, or at least consistent quarterback play, good quarterback play. I mean, the guy was a stud. If he goes past the second round in the NFL draft, there should be half the front offices get fired. I mean, what are you watching? I mean, he didn't have a great quarterback in Peyton Thorne, yet he's still putting up all these numbers. I mean, somehow Penn State couldn't come up with the money to pay him. Put that in perspective. I mean, we've talked about that, and they made a really deep run in the college football playoff. I mean, if they had him, what could they have done?
Right.
So it would maybe with a revenue sharing plan. So I think it's just for the sanity of the game, to be honest with you.
I think it is. And I think that's what, again, that was his intent when he's talking like this. I just think people heard the words, and all they heard were more balanced playing field to help Alabama, and people overreacted to what they just that little snippet. They overreacted to it, and it was like, oh my gosh, Alabama's whining about something, and we all know, and we can't feel sorry for Alabama because we feel like they've been paying players over the years. So, I mean, that's what the mindset is of some people.
Well, I mean, look, man, I think we all understand that's been happening for decades.
Yes.
And now it's legal. But, those that live in glass houses shouldn't be throwing the first stone. Okay. Just zip it and understand what he means instead of trying to take a pot shot. You know what I'm saying? But some people get off on doing that.
All right, 256-576-4977. Join the program, 7:30. How about we enjoy a timeout? Bet Online, one of these sports books, have put over-under totals, one of your favorite things, on the 2025 college football season. How many wins do they say Alabama and Auburn and the rest of the SEC will get? Some of those numbers are interesting. We'll explain it next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Stuart Dressman. A sunny sky this afternoon. Going to be a fantastic Friday across the Tennessee Valley. Maybe just a touch on the breezy end of the spectrum, but that's okay. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid 60s. We're dropping into the mid 40s as we head into the overnight early Saturday morning and mostly to partly sunny sky Saturday afternoon. Once again, temperatures climbing into the lower 60s. Going to be colder Saturday night, early into Sunday morning. Temperatures actually going to drop into the lower 30s across the Tennessee Valley, and then colder through Sunday afternoon under a mostly sunny sky. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's looking like one of those uneventful Friday mornings. Usually, if that's the case, we pay the price on Friday afternoon. You just be careful throughout the day wherever you're headed. You need help with projects, leave coverage, or maybe staff positions? Snelling can help with admin, business support, and accounting. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
We aren't a winning school. We are a championship school, and we make legends. Join the Crimson Tide as they look to continue to rise to the top of the NCAA basketball mountain. Every game, all season, right here on your home for Alabama basketball. The Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Been thinking about what kind of truck you need to pull that big boat or shiny Airstream Classic? I'd like to invite you to feel the torque of an F-150 Power Boost Hybrid. It combines the forces of gas and electric power for over 11,000 pounds of towing muscle. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, where you can test drive over 200 new F-150s. And you can save up to $13,500 off MSRP on a 24 XLT 4x4 with the Power Boost engine. Save over $13,000 on F-150 today. On your way to a growing family or already have one? Then a Woody Anderson Ford Expedition is your ticket to ride. Save up to $12,000 off MSRP on a 24 Expedition at Woody Anderson Ford. $12,000 off Expedition. And there's more too. Get up to $8,000 off MSRP on the agile and sporty Escape ST line. And with a versatile 2024 Edge, you're looking at up to $10,000 off MSRP only at Woody Anderson Ford. Bring on the savings. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
I'm here with Vice President of Mortgage from Bank of Frank Ewing, John Kendall. And John, if you're hearing this commercial right now and you're thinking of getting a new house, boy, oh boy, do you guys have a deal.
We do. It's a grant. $25,000 if you're a veteran, $20,000 if you're not a veteran. This can be used for closing costs, down payment.
Very simple. All you have to do is give Bank of Frank Ewing a call at
256-507-9180.
And how long does this process take?
Oh, it takes just a few minutes, maybe 15, 30 minutes on the phone. We'll send you a link and you fill that out in your own time. We'll approve you.
Who would not want $25,000 for a new house? John Kendall, give them the phone number and online address one more time.
256-507-9180 or at bankoffrankewing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing giving you $25,000 for a new house. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDIC insured bank as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The moments that make up a day. 7:35 on a Friday morning. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome back into the program. Bet Online, a sports book out in Vegas, says, all right, folks, we need your money, and we want your money, and we want to take your money. So we're going to put the over-unders for the 2025 college football season out. We're going to say these are going to be your win totals for the Southeastern Conference. Leading the way in the conference this year, according to Bet Online, Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee both at 9.5 games.
Well, see, that surprises me a little bit with Georgia, only because we don't even know who the hell their quarterback's going to be.
Okay. Keep that in mind for the next three. LSU, Alabama, and Ole Miss. Your over-under on win totals, 8.5. 8.5 for LSU, Alabama, and Ole Miss.
Whatever.
Well, you don't know. I mean, the quarterback-wise, we don't know who. I mean, we have an idea of who's going to be quarterback for Alabama. We don't know.
Now nobody's going to know. They're going to know even less until the first friggin' game, because there's not going to be spring games that are even look the same, or even in some cases at all. So,
right.
I mean, I did see Marty Smith the other day on ESPN on a podcast, and he was talking about he expects the Texas situation with Arch Manning to be like Tim Tebow kind of level of insanity when they go places, because of Arch's skill set and the lineage and being bust proof, because Mannings are bust proof. I'm sorry, America, but they are. They're absolutely 110% bust proof.
That's why their win totals at 9.5 games.
I'm sorry. I mean, they might have some deficiencies as a football team,
right?
But it ain't going to be a Manning. Okay, so that's why when you sign a Manning, you're going to win.
So 8.5 for Alabama. That's not a number that we're accustomed to seeing.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I hope it goes down to 7.5. Then some idiot says 6.5. Go ahead, just put the bulletin board material up there. Keep shoveling the dirt, and then when they hit you upside the head with a mallet, then you'll bow down to the king.
But who's the king?
Bama. Still. Doesn't matter that they haven't won one since 2020. The history is there. They have the best history in college football. That's why everybody takes pot shots. It's why clowns like Justin Hokanson run their mouths, because they wish they were covering Alabama. They wish they were Alabama, and they're not.
So Missouri and Auburn, they have them slated for 7.5 as your over-under on your win total. 7.5. That would be good enough to get Auburn to a bowl game.
And I think Auburn's going to go to a bowl game.
But
this
is that
year
good
if the
enough
quarterback situation play that? But see, that's another one. We still don't know about their quarterback situation. You know, it may be that Jackson Arnold, they unlock him, and if they do, he's very talented. So, but I do think the expectation for Auburn should be a bowl game. I mean, and they get Alabama in Jordan-Hare Stadium. We all know what a tough place to play that is. And like I said, I just think that should be Auburn's expectations for this year. It should be to get to a bowl game, win a bowl game. And
is 7.5 though enough to quiet this heat that supposedly Hugh Freeze is feeling?
I would round it to 8, but if Hugh Freeze gets to 8, I don't think he's going to be feeling any heat, because that's a significant step forward. And to me, that would also likely include a bowl win, or maybe even you might get to 9 with the bowl. And I know bowls are harder to quantify now because of opt-outs and things of that nature, but I still think the expectation for Auburn should be very, very much getting to postseason play and reaching a bowl.
All right, so some of these other ones are like, oh my goodness. Would you like to take a guess on the over-under for Kentucky this coming season?
I'd rather guess the over-under of how many of the games that Jeff won't watch.
Well, okay. Take a guess on that then. Is it greater than their win total projected for the new year?
I would say my guess on how many that Jeff won't watch is 8.
That is far exceeding the over-under for Kentucky in 2025.
Well, that would mean they would go 4-8 again.
4.5 is the projected
So I almost
win
hit it
total.
on the friggin' head.
4.5 is the projected win total for Kentucky this coming football season.
And another situation with Brock Vandagriff retiring, they don't even know who their quarterback is.
Some of the other low numbers for the league this coming year, even though Diego Pavia
is coming back.
Yes. Like, do we say, I mean, he's coming back, but until he's actually on the field.
He's on the field. They're not going to change their minds.
They project Vanderbilt for a win total of 3 games.
What?
3 games.
Only 3.
Only 3 is the over-under
How
for
in the
Vanderbilt.
Blue Blazes can they think that Kentucky's going to win more games than Vanderbilt in football after what we saw last year?
Put some scratch down on that one.
I mean, I guess they're thinking, okay, Diego Pavia is not sneaking up on anybody and things of that nature.
Maybe they don't think Diego Pavia is going to play.
Oh, then they better hurry up and tell the kid. That's stupid because you got spring practice starting. You're going to let the guy practice, then all of a sudden say he can't play.
We've seen him do some dumbass things.
Come on. They've already said Justin Jefferson's coming back for Alabama. Give me a break with that.
So some of the other
There's
ones.
nothing wrong with Diego Pavia coming back or these JUCO guys getting extra years, and I mean for every team.
Some of the other win totals.
Even if they are 26 years old with Social Security, who cares? Just let them play. It's not like it's the high school level or like the stuff Trump's having to clean up when you got Jed over here playing with Ann. I mean, come on.
Jed playing with Ann.
I'm just saying. You got guys competing in women's sports, which is stupid. I mean, this is not one of those things. I mean, concentrate on things that are, good for the country. It's not bad for Diego Pavia to play for Vanderbilt, okay? Positivity.
We just compared Diego. Some of the other.
That's my last rant on that garbage. I haven't really talked about that, but that's my take on it.
You haven't. And I wasn't expecting it to be tied into Vanderbilt's over-under of 3 games.
I went positive, negative.
Yes, you did. Click, click, boom.
Yeah, there we go.
Mississippi State, 3.5. Oh, Chipotle. I just saw an ad for Chipotle.
Still haven't tried the brisket. I've heard good things about it.
It looked good. I did introduce Steve, though, to a Pizza Hut pizza last night. A meat lover's pizza minus pepperoni, but add mushrooms.
Oh, I'm not really a mushrooms guy, but I haven't
He
had
went
that.
with it and pretty much devoured a large pizza.
I think Steve likes shrooms, from what I'm saying, and I'm not meaning the kind that gives you hallucinations.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah,
for him.
I don't want to say he's like a weed whacker or something. Going to Grateful Dead concerts.
He's not gonna go out to the middle of the desert and just sit for hours and reflect on life.
Or just start meditating or something. I don't know.
Well, that's good. That's good. No, but I did.
Yeah.
We had that, and then of course we had to get the ice cream.
Of course.
Oh man.
Well, I ended up with some kind of fried chicken over at the BJCC.
Some kind of fried chicken.
It was all right. And then
was it chicken?
It was chicken.
Okay.
But I mean it. And then they gave us some rice, and I put the sauce over the rice, and thinking it was some kind of sweet and sour thing, and it just give it a little bit of flavor because it was plain rice. And
right.
And then didn't realize I was going to set my mouth and my stomach on fire. And that's basically what I did. So it took about 3 bottles of water to get that, to cool myself down. But still, enjoyed the day over in Birmingham. And hey, shout out to Florence High School for getting to the 7A finals. Dylan Burleson has done remarkable things. He's already as young an age, as young as a coach as he is. He's already taken Haleyville to their first ever Final Four. This will be Florence's first ever after the consolidation of Coffee and Bradshaw.
Yep.
They played outstanding yesterday. Jalen Chandler what a game he had, 41 points, 10 rebounds for Florence. And they end up reaching the finals with a good win over a solid Fairhope squad. But they'll face Hoover 5:45 on Saturday. And then, of course, what more can you say about the Hoover girls program? You kind of referenced it a little bit.
Yeah, they're rolling.
I did confirm something. I thought that the 8th grade extraordinaire for Hoover, Kristen Winston, I thought she was related to Jameis Winston, likely a sister. That I was corrected.
Wrong.
She is not even related.
There we go.
But Chip English's daughter got a lot of minutes. Shout out to him. And saw his wife down there yesterday. But
good
Hoover,
people's there.
Yeah, really good people. And so the Hoover ladies went in a rout over Central Phoenix City, and they will take on Hillcrest Tuscaloosa. That's actually a game that should be very, very good in the 7A girls. But it's going to be Hoover Florence boys, and then of course Hoover versus Hillcrest Tuscaloosa in the 7A finals.
All right. Before we get a break in, let me just mention real fast, Texas A&M, Florida, Oklahoma, all 6.5 on their win totals for the year. South Carolina and Arkansas, 5.5.
What? They've only got 5.5 for South Carolina. They actually do have their quarterback back.
5.5 for South Carolina, and Mississippi State and Jeff Libby in his second year, 3.5.
Well, I would have said 1.5.
3.5.
Well, I mean, when you have, but
the transfer portal could cure a lot of things.
Well,
you might get 3.5.
Not when you've got Coleman Hutzler.
All right. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll finish up hour one with some phone calls. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's looking like one of those uneventful Friday mornings. Usually, if that's the case, we pay the price on Friday afternoon. You just be careful throughout the day, wherever you're headed. You need help with projects, leave coverage, or maybe staff positions? Snelling can help with admin, business support, and accounting. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Hey, do you have heating and air issues as the springtime starts to roll around? Hey, there's just one name you need to know: Talent Heating and Air. #1 heating and air business right here in the Tennessee Valley.
Yeah, we're locally based. If you call, you're going to get somebody based in Huntsville. Mentioned in spring earlier, we can actually do indoor air quality products, so we can help alleviate those allergy problems you're having in your house.
All right, Thomas from Talent Heating and Air, give them the number that when they call, somebody live and local will pick up.
That's 256-503-4490.
And you can always head to the World Wide Web and find Talent Heating and Air, and you guys will still respond.
That's talenthvac.com. If you don't want to talk to a person right away, you can fill out a form on there and get scheduled for a visit.
That's Talent Heating and Air. They're live, they're local. It's Talent Heating and Air.
AL certain number 21014.
Are you ready to be part of something bigger? Here at Qualys, we don't just support our national security and space programs. We fuel them with cutting-edge technology. From defending our nation to pushing the boundaries of space, Qualys is where innovation meets impact. Join a team driven by purpose, powered by critical technologies, and committed to making a difference. Your skills, your passion, our mission, where your career and your future takes flight. Apply now at qualys-corp.com.
Conference USA is bringing its premier basketball event back to the Rocket City. Don't miss the 2025 Conference USA Basketball Championships, March 11th through the 15th at the VBC Probst Arena, featuring 20 men's and women's basketball teams playing 18 games with CUSA titles and NCAA automatic bids on the line. Find out who's going to be putting on their dancing shoes. Tickets as low as $40. Visit Ticketmaster.com today to experience Conference USA hoops in the Rocket City, March 11th through 15th.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
On a Friday morning, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. I tell you what, let's visit with Jeff on the phone lines. Let's get out to the neighbors. Let's get out to the phone lines. Let's say hey to Jeff this morning. Morning, Jeff.
Morning, Jeff.
There's one guy doing it, but that trophy looks good in the studio there, wherever y'all at.
Yeah, it's for your Middle Tennessee ladies if they can repeat.
Well,
Jeff.
I mean, now they got to win the tournament to go to the NCAA anyway. They know they can't
Last year I think they still would have got in, Jeff. So you think they wouldn't this year if they don't win it?
No, they don't have any. They played Tennessee, they played Tennessee, they played Tennessee Tech, they played Kansas State, Iowa State, but they don't have any. They haven't won any. They don't have. They're not.
So they don't have that big resume win where they would still get in.
I mean, no, they played good team. They played Belmont and they played Tennessee, and Tennessee just haven't beat them. They haven't. They don't have a. They don't have a. I don't think they know. I mean, and coach the coaching staff. I mean, I'm sure he's told the players, the coaching staff knows that, and the men are the same way. They got to win the tournament. They know that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're right now. They're 10-5. They're right up. They can win the regular season, but it's not going to matter. I mean,
they're going to bring a lot of people to Huntsville, though. They did last year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're going to bring this year too. They always, the women's fans always do. They draw 3,500 to 4,000.
How many people does I haven't been in over a decade? How many folks does the Mills Arena hold now?
Let's see, 11-5, I think it is.
Oh wow,
that's pretty good.
I mean they have bleachers in there too. They can
oh yeah, they do have bleachers, but I didn't know what the capacity was.
Where my wife graduated from, by the way.
Because when Kermit Davis was there, he wanted to pull them all out, the luxury suites and all this. And I guess they told him no or whatever. Of course, he's not even coaching now. He couldn't even last at Ole Miss, so we know where he's at. But he wanted to pull them all out, luxury suite. He wanted to reduce the capacity to like Western's 8,500 and 9,000 and all this. But now they've got like football, they've got a beer garden up top where you can go per halftime, whatever. And if you're of age, you can drink. Baseball, they sell alcohol through their baseball games too. So all that stuff. But now they know they've got to play Liberty next week. The women do for the regular season. So they're a game ahead of Liberty right now. They won 10 in a row. So and the men just got through beating New Mexico State last night. But I'm hoping they'll bring a good crowd. But what I want to say about the Auburn Kentucky game Saturday, I don't know what's going to happen if those 2-3 guys playing, if they're healthy, which I don't think they're fully 100%. Kentucky has a little bit of a chance to win, but they've got to get Broom or somebody into foul trouble. And this Baker Mazzara guy, I'll tell you what, guys, that guy could be big time trouble for Auburn in the postseason. Big time trouble.
Yeah. All right, Jeff. Thanks for the phone call.
See you guys.
Yeah. Chad Baker Mazzara it's almost like a cannon. You're waiting for it to go off.
He's Dennis Rodman, okay, or Draymond Green, if you want to just categorize it,
right?
Because trouble seems to follow him. I think he's a really good player,
right?
But he's an instigator.
Can't stay out of his own way sometimes.
And he really likes to get under the skin of the opponent and the opponent's fans,
right?
That's just his MO. He's a very intense guy. He's a winning player. He makes winning plays on both ends of the floor. I just think you have to rein in your emotions sometimes, and I think that's what Bruce Pearl tries to do. But he's one of the engines behind Auburn, and they certainly need him on the floor. I mean, when he got ejected last year early in the first half against Yale, that was really a death blow for Auburn. And so they need him healthy. He's also been banged up.
Yes.
But they need Chad Baker Mazzara on the floor. Auburn does. And I'm calling it. I'm calling for a Kentucky win. I may be wrong. And to me, it's probably going to be, I think Auburn would be 16-2. I think they'll be favored and very difficult to beat for Texas A&M, even though it's in Reed Arena. And we all know that IBOB Chapter 2, that'll be senior day and potentially trying to sew up the SEC championship by itself. Now, it may already be sewn up if they can beat Kentucky. But if they don't beat Kentucky, then things could be up for grabs still. So I think Auburn is still has a let's put it 95% 7.5% chance to win the regular season outright by themselves.
Right.
But they can go a long way toward doing that by winning in Rupp Arena. Would it be stunning if they won? Absolutely not. But I still think they're probably going to get the best version of Kentucky. Whether that's good enough to beat Auburn, I don't know, because Auburn's already gone to Tuscaloosa in a madhouse and won. They've already,
but they haven't won in Kentucky since 1988.
We were talking about that last night, even in Birmingham.
Yeah.
That's just hard to fathom.
Well, of course, they haven't gone there every year.
No, but I mean, Bruce Pearl's been there a decade plus, and I guess you can go ahead and say it. He's done everything but two things for Auburn basketball. He hasn't won the national championship,
right,
and he hasn't beaten Kentucky and Lexington. I
That's
believe
right, because he's won the SEC title, won the
Tennessee.
SEC championship.
He did it at Tennessee, but I honestly, that had slipped past me. I did not realize as much success. And let's be honest, Bruce Pearl is going to go down as the greatest Auburn basketball coach in history. Very likely in Neville Arena, the floor will be named after him. I mean, good grief. I didn't realize he hadn't won. That's the only thing in the SEC he hasn't done is win in Rupp Arena, and he might check that off this weekend. We'll see.
Well, if he doesn't get a win this year, I mean, this is
I don't know.
This is about as good a team as you could take to Lexington to get a win. This is it.
He's had some really good teams at Auburn, but I think this is his best team. And this is a golden opportunity to beat the Cats.
All right, we are just about out of time here in hour number one. How much time do we have? 1 minute? Minute and a half? All right, let's squeeze in let's squeeze in Brandon real fast. Minute and a half. All right, Brandon.
So last night after the game, we decided to take it to Hattie B's Chicken.
Uh-oh, did you have the hot chicken?
No, I got the medium. I did not get to shut the cluck up. That's a little.
I got the medium too, and I was able to make it through that. Now Ryan Fowler went up a notch or two, and he couldn't get through it.
I tell you what, when we went up to the Music City Bowl, the Hattie B's right there on Broadway. The line to get into Hattie B's is so long.
Oh, it is. It really is.
It is
for us
massive out there in Nashville to get into Hattie B's.
Well, it's real good food. My wife was a little concerned about that area of town. She's like, this area of town's safe? And I said, anywhere I go is safe. So we got out, went in, and then after the game's over, I'm standing there and taking pictures of all the girls. They're like, I'm going to get a picture of Mr. B. And I look around, and I'm standing there holding the blue map by myself, and nobody's around. And I said, what am I supposed to do with this? And somebody said, hold it over your head and dance. And I had to chase them down to give them the trophy back.
Well, I'm sure that trophy wasn't nearly as heavy as our Conference USA large paperweight over here. And I mean large.
All right, Brandon, thanks for the phone call. Thanks for the phone call, but hate to do it, but we are up against that hour break. Yes, the blue map from the state. I tell you what, I like the clear design in the middle of it. I just don't like it. Seems like it's gotten smaller for the blue map trophy.
Well, this dang thing hadn't got smaller.
No, the Conference USA trophy is 45 pounds.
Is it 45?
I think so.
Dang,
it's
I
heavy.
can't bench much then.
And we love it.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. For a limited time, GBank is offering a $250 bonus when you open a GBank Visa Signature Card. Apply today at vsin.com/GBank.
College baseball action coming up today. The Auburn Tigers at Auburn 88 favorite over the Ohio State Buckeyes plus 145. It's South Alabama,
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. Their locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
We kicked off hour one, courtesy of Talent Heating and Air, by the way. Let their talent work for you. We mentioned the UAH Chargers getting a school record 27th win on the road. Or 27th straight win, getting it done last night on the road. As we kick off hour number 2, courtesy of SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, the official medical providers for the UAH Chargers. We welcome in their head coach because, well, all they did again was go 22-0 in Gulf South Conference play, first time in school history. 12-0 on the road this season, first time in school history. Secured the number 1 seed in the Gulf South Conference, and they are the third-ranked team in the country, second-ranked team in the region. I mean, I don't know what more superlatives we could put out there.
No, I mean, it was a spectacular performance on the road in a very difficult place to play that historically has given UAH some problems, but they systematically just, I thought, dismantled, just listening on the way home from Birmingham, a West Alabama team that has been playing much better basketball and has qualified for the conference tournament that will start on Super Tuesday. And we know now that will be a doubleheader. That's another history thing because the ladies under Alan Sharp this will be their first time hosting on Super Tuesday. So that'll be an outstanding doubleheader. And UAH is playing outstanding basketball, and their head basketball coach, first-year coach, Mick Hedgebeth, has been kind enough to get up this morning and join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, congratulations on a perfect conference regular season. And now the fun starts, postseason coming up on Tuesday. How are you?
Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Drew. I appreciate it. Doing well. Didn't get a lot of sleep, but I know that's pretty common for you guys too. So
right.
No, we're doing well, and I'm really excited about the finish to our regular season. And now it's time to turn the page and keep our head down and turn our focus to the postseason. We'll have a really tough challenge in here on Tuesday, and the preparation starts today.
Well, and I was going to ask you about that preparation, Coach. I mean, I know, are you going to work on yourselves more today, or do you start kind of breaking down your potential opponent on Tuesday?
I'm pretty confident. I'll have to look at the numbers, but I can speak with high confidence. I think we will play Lee.
Mm-hmm.
So we will start to look at them. But I think today will be off. Obviously, got home late last night, early into the morning, and then tomorrow we will mainly work on us. There may be a few concepts or actions, or if we look back at our game when we played them in our place today, they held us to our lowest scoring total of the season, I believe 71 points.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just a phenomenal defensive team. I think they're number 1 in field goal percentage defense in our league. So, we may, depending on what the film tells us, mix in an action or a concept or two that we feel could be important, but it will primarily be about us tomorrow, and then we'll move forward to them on Sunday.
Every team wants to be playing some of their best basketball when they get into tournament season. You look at last night's game, a 78-60 win against West Alabama, probably one of your team's best all-around performances, both on the defensive side and the offensive side of the game.
Yeah, I thought our guys, after last weekend giving up an average of 96 points per game and, maybe not having quite the focus, quite the intensity that you really need, particularly to start that Auburn-Montgomery game. I thought they came out ready to go, on task, on mission. And, we started the game like 17-2 or something along those lines, and did a good job executing what we were trying to do on both ends, and simple things, boxing out and rebounding against a team who's
really, really physical and crashes very hard and attacking the paint. I thought it was one of our more complete games. I thought we got really quality looks from three. We didn't knock as many of them down and convert as many of those as we normally do. Shot a low percentage from three in the low 20s, but they were really quality looks, and I thought overall we did a good job kind of turning our defense into offense, and against, like I said, a really tough physical team and a hard place to play.
Well, Coach, now you do get those few days off. It's always good, though, when you can in this late in the season, with the bodies kind of banged up, legs kind of tired, that you can actually say, okay, look, before we get into tournament play, we're going to be able to take a day here or take a day there and kind of rest going into tournament play.
Right. Yeah, and we were a little bit fortunate with the calendar and only having one game this week. We were able to take 2 days off in a row last week with Sunday, Monday, and then we'll take today off, obviously. And we didn't play. I think no one played over 28 minutes last night, so it wasn't one of those 35-plus minute games for some of our guys who have had to do that at different times in different games throughout conference play. So yeah, you never know. We all of us coaches hope we can round into form and be in peak shape and peak performance this time of year. I don't know the perfect formula to get there.
Right.
I think we're all in constant search of that, but hopefully we will be fresh. I've heard a lot of coaches say the teams who really want to be here this time of year. I think we've all been a part of teams who it's been a long year, and they can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit. But I know our guys just love being around each other, love playing for each other, and the wins and everything else are, of course, that's important, and everyone wants that. But more importantly, it's been an incredible journey and just a group that's about the right stuff and selfless and about the team and being a part of something bigger than yourself. And it's been pretty special. I don't think any of us want it to end.
No, I would say no, not at all. I mean,
yeah. Hopefully we can finish well.
Well, and speaking of finishing well, he had 19 and 16. He was the player of the game last night with Daniel Saylor. Just talk about how it sounded like from I know he spoke with Scott after the game that a big part of the game plan and your focus was taking advantage of some matchups inside against West Alabama. How does that carry over to a team like Lee, who likes to control the tempo and certainly, as you said and you pointed out, back in late January, played you to a one-possession game?
Well, there's some similarities in those two teams, and Lee's playing really, really well right now. They won last night. They won at Trevecca last weekend, played us really close. But both teams are, I would not say really push tempo. They slow it down a little bit, really defensive-minded, guard some actions similarly. So hopefully there will be a little bit of carryover. It's not like, we've had several times, whether it's, you play a team on Thursday and then it's a totally different style and different mindset and different prep for Saturday's game. So it shouldn't be that, or at least to that extent. But yeah, Saylor was really big in establishing the paint for us. I think some of that was because Tommy got off to such a good start. He had at halftime, I think he had 19 points on 9 shots and got going early. I think he scored 14 really early. So they, diverted a lot of their attention to him, which left some other spots vulnerable, and they put 2 on the ball, and now you got Saylor free rolling to the rim and things along those lines. And to his credit, if they, switched and had a perimeter player on him, even if we didn't get him a post touch, he was able to capitalize on the offensive glass and use that mismatch advantage to get us an extra possession with an offensive rebound. I think he had 6 of those, which was really paramount for us. So he's continued to develop and get better and better, and he's been a lot of fun to work with. So very, very proud of Saylor.
I tell you what, Drew mentioned Daniel Saylor being the player of the game. It's getting really hard to pick player of the games. It's
27-1.
That's the problem. That's the problem. It's 27 straight wins, and it's like, okay, who do we pick tonight? Who do we pick tonight? Because, and my point is,
good problem to have.
Yes, it's a good problem to have because each and every night it's somebody doing something. It's Daniel Saylor, it's Luke Burnett, it's Tommy Murr, it's Austin Leslie. The list goes on and on and on, and it's getting really hard to try to put somebody in that spot.
Yeah, and that's been a lot of fun. Is to someone's going to have an off game here and there, and it's when that's happened, it's been fun to see who rises to the occasion, and who's having a good game then, and then that's where the selflessness. It's hard when you're not having a good game to keep having a non-scoring impact. We talk about that a lot. Is you can still play really well but not score it well. So many equate scoring to that's the end all be all, but you can still play really well and not score it great. But in terms of scoring, yeah, you've got to kind of pick who you're going to defend with our perimeter guys, how you're going to guard Saylor, and just there's some different weapons, and that's made it a lot of fun to coach just to have that balance. I would say we're just a balanced, unselfish group who want to read the defense and take what they give us, and it's been a lot of fun to play that way and coach a team who embraces that.
Well, and we're talking to Mick Edgebeth, head basketball coach of the Gulf South Conference regular season champion UAH Chargers. And coach, but speaking of offensive efficiency, you mentioned Tommy Murray. He's averaging nearly 21 points per game on the season. Last 2 games, though, amazing offensive efficiency, 20 of 30 from the floor. I know he had, I think, 23 points in 24 minutes last night, something to that effect. But talk about especially his last years. What's been the key for him being so efficient offensively for you and scoring 33, against Montevallo, a good young team under Anthony Camara, and then coming back last night and really only playing a little over half the game, but being so effective.
Yeah, and then prior to Montevallo, he had 41 at AUM. The weekend before, I think he had 27 and 29. So he's been on quite the tear here.
Yeah.
And I think he's just, Tommy is, and one thing that gets hidden with all that is his assist numbers. They're through the roof. I think he had 6 assists, 1 turnover, 6 assists, 1 turnover last night. He's had 9 or 10 assists in 4, 5, 6 games this year. But with Tommy's quickness, he's just so quick. So whether it's a ball screen or a long closeout or transition, he's just able to get by people. And the whole point of offense is to create a 2-on-1, right? And then you're playing advantage basketball and have the ball popping and moving. And we talk about 0.5 second decisions from there and get the defense in rotations. And he's a creator. He can create that advantage, whether it's for himself, whether it's for others. And he's hungry. He's in the gym every day, form shooting, on the gun. He's up in the office. He's watching film with me, looking at ball screen reads. He just did that last week from the Montevallo game. And I think because of that, he's gotten better and better and better. And, we're with kind of some of the tweaks we've made with how we're playing. He's just continued to get more comfortable there. And he's a guy, when he gets going, he can make threes off the bounce, at a pretty high clip. So, I'm just incredibly proud of him. And I know all he wants to do is win, whether he scores 40 or 0. He just wants to make the right read and the right play, which is uncommon. You know, he's an uncommon special player.
We were talking about Daniel Saylor, and you were a big guy, and you've worked with Daniel Saylor a lot this year in getting his game. Coach, if you were still playing college basketball and you were doing that scouting report or watching Daniel and having to go up against Daniel, I mean, would that be a matchup you would like to play, is having to go up and play against Daniel Saylor?
I've played against him one day. So I played against him one day after practice, and then we haven't played since. So I'll let you make of that what you will. But you know, he is a load. I mean, he's really done a good job just with, you know, both in ball screens. He's quick in and out of those. He's got quick feet. He's got good hands. He's gotten better in those situations. He's gotten better in sealing situations, where if you play behind him, he's starting to make those reads better. If you play in front of him, he's good at sealing you out. Our guys have, you know, continued to get better at throwing those lob post entries, which are hard passes. We have to practice those a lot. You know, again, just recognizing, okay, are they switching? Now I can think I'm really more aggressive on the glass and things of that nature. So to answer your question, right now, I would, and maybe at no point in my career would I look forward to that matchup. So yeah, I'm glad we don't have to find that out.
Yeah.
So, glad I didn't have to play in our alumni game and go against him.
Well,
how did that alumni game go, by the way?
Thanks for. I shouldn't have brought that up. You know, it's funny. It's kind of with how we're playing. There's a lot of carryover from how they played here in the past. There's a few tweaks. I would say one of those is we're trying to play a little bit faster and have more transition concepts, and then just a little bit more conceptual, a little more randomness in the half court. And when you do that, if you're going to play that way, you have to really hone in on role identity. You have to know who's more of a screener, who's more of a cutter, who's more of a should cut to the ball, who shouldn't. You know, you have to get into all that. And with more randomness and not as many like rules. Like Daniel Saylor, for example, is a mechanical engineer. He loves rules. This is if this happens, this happens. You know, very black and white. This is okay. Wait, well, this happened, so I should do this. But it's not always that way in basketball. Sometimes you just have to. It's a feel thing.
Yeah.
And our preseason, I'm going somewhere with this. Our preseason was messy. It was messy.
Yeah.
4 or 5 weeks. I'm trying to learn them. They're trying to learn me. There's less structure. And I mean, we're all wondering what the heck's going on. And it was a little bit messy. And then we play our alumni and they score 92 points on us and tie us.
Oh,
so
no.
it would have it's the first time in my life I've ever decided that a tie was a good idea. I was trying to get out of there as quickly as possible. Majet was cooking, Sieb was cooking, along with CJ was cooking.
Pretty good players there, though.
Yeah, we couldn't get a stop to save our lives. But to our team's credit, it would have been easy kind of at that point, and it would have been easy for some doubt to creep in, to not have the buy-in, and it didn't go that direction at all. They totally bought in, and so thankful to have a group who had that maturity and long-term view of what we were trying to do, and just a bunch of guys who represent UAH in a first-class manner. And we haven't had one off-the-court issue all season, and a 3.5 team GPA. It's been a whole lot of fun, So I wanted to, mention I was thinking about that the other day, just with the messiness of the preseason and the alumni game and everything else. We've come a long way.
Well, and what he's also telling you, Scott, is Daniel Saylor's going to build rocket ships or something of that nature.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's has a full-time job offer from Lockheed Martin in defense. So
there we go.
Yeah. And who knows? He may have some basketball ahead of him if he chooses to do so. He's probably earned that opportunity as well.
Wow. I mean, and that's and what Daniel Saylor is to me, Coach, is I know you've only had a chance to have him and help him reach his potential this year in his final season as a Charger on the court. But he's the epitome of the development of this program. When you sign a young man who's got talent, certainly you can see it, great size, but he stays in the program, he redshirts, and he develops and becomes a dominant college basketball player on the Division II level. That's kind of what this program's been built on.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the landscape, that's getting harder and harder to do. People don't play their freshman year and they're mad and leave a lot now. It's sad in some ways, just because I know his experience here has to mean so much to him because he stuck it out. He got a top 70 engineering degree in the country. He made lifelong relationships, and now it's paying off on the floor, and he's part of a really special team. And, he just got engaged. He's going to get married to a UAH student as well. And looking forward to attending their wedding this summer. I know I heard Coach Schulman on here talking about Luke's wedding, and Coach Schulman's right. He, as he is about a lot of things. That's what it's all about. I mean, there's these relationships, and it's certainly bigger than the wins and the losses. And yes, I'm very grateful Saylor stuck it out, and he's been just incredibly important and made his mark on the program in a number of ways.
He's leading the country in field goal percentage, by the way. Number 1 in the country in field goal percentage.
Yeah, well, when you dunk about 70% of your shots, they should go in. So, no.
There we go.
With Tommy Murr passing the ball.
There we go.
In all seriousness, no, he's worked on his jump hooks and his touch and his shot fakes and being more efficient at the free throw line. They started fouling him intentionally in the game last night to put him on the line, and he capitalized there and stepped up and made a couple at the end of the first half in a 1-on-1 situation. And that's hard to do when you have that, psychologically when a team's fouling you intentionally in a 1-on-1 situation. So credit to him. He's a good one.
All right.
Well, we're looking forward to Tuesday, Coach.
Yeah.
Congratulations on an epic regular season. And this is when the real fun starts. March Madness is upon us. But congratulations to the UAH Chargers, and thank you for getting up early and joining us this morning and talking some UAH hoops.
We know you can have your hands full in the morning, so we appreciate it.
I can indeed. That's okay. It's a busy time, but a good time, and really appreciate the coverage. Appreciate your guys' support. To all you listeners, we would love to see you Tuesday, 5:30 for our women's game, 7:30 tip for us. We would love to see you there. So appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. All right, Coach Mick Hedgespeth. And he's right. I mean, he had a late night last night, but he's got 2 little ones.
Yep.
And still finds a way to get up and spend some time with us in the morning. Let's get a break in. More conversation coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a couple of wrecks, one in Moulton, 157, about mile marker 36. That's around Byler Road. That one may have an injury involved. It's 72 eastbound at Wall Triana in Madison. That one came in as a no injury. You could lose up to 4 sizes in 4 weeks with a 2030 Fast Track weight loss program. Find out more at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Conference USA is bringing its premier basketball event back to the Rocket City. Don't miss the 2025 Conference USA Basketball Championships March 11th through the 15th at the VBC Probst Arena, featuring 20 men's and women's basketball teams playing 18 games with CUSA titles and NCAA automatic bids on the line. Find out who's going to be putting on their dancing shoes. Tickets as low as $40. Visit Ticketmaster.com today to experience Conference USA hoops in the Rocket City, March 11th through 15th.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
1 in 3 adults in America have prediabetes, but most don't know it. To let people know it can be reversed before it becomes type 2 diabetes, professional basketball player Julius Randle is doing everything in reverse.
I'm only dunking with reverse windmills. I drove the whole way to practice in reverse. I don't recommend it. This move's called the reverse shuffle. I do recommend it. And it took me months to learn how to speak in reverse, like this. Here's 10 almost for diabetes type 2 with living Ben has mom my. In other words, my mom has been living with type 2 diabetes for almost 10 years. So together, we want to say to the 84 million Americans at risk, exercise and healthy eating can help reverse prediabetes. Start by taking a simple 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Bet he can't say that in reverse.
From Coleman to Fayetteville and all points in between.
Son, pull the hammer back. Smokey's coming at you in a plain white wrapper.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
8:28 on a Friday morning. Let's visit with the phone lines. Let's go to the phone lines, and we'll visit with some fine people. Let's go visit with Bryce this morning. Good morning, Bryce.
Real quick, Drew, do you know if we reached out to Bo Davis?
Saban did before he retired, but Bo, did not want to come back to Alabama with the uncertainty of Nick Saban going forward. But yes, there was communication between Alabama and Bo Davis about a year ago. So not so much now. Bo is leaving LSU, Scott, to go.
Yeah,
back
that's
to the
Matt Moscona.
NFL.
I saw him put that out there yesterday.
Yep, he's going back to the NFL. He wasn't, I never got the feeling that he was 100% happy going back to LSU. I think he was looking for another pro opportunity. I don't think he enjoyed the NIL aspect and the transfer portal. He put in a couple of good years at Texas, did a nice job for Sark, and developed some guys that first and second round picks, and got them to the college football playoff a couple of years ago. But I think, he had an initial taste in the NFL with the Detroit Lions. And, now he didn't really have to move far down the road to go to the Saints. But I think right now, and you've seen the exodus. I mean, Terry Joseph, he left Texas the other day to go, I believe, to the Saints as well. There's a lot of guys looking to get out of college football right now.
Well, as it's messed up it is, I can understand why, but
yeah,
I was just curious. You would know, how many points did Ace have last night?
She had 40 points, 10 rebounds,
Wow.
8 assists.
Well, okay. Well, we're looking forward to seeing her at Alabama. Too bad her and Miss Barker can't play together. That would be great. That would be great, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. They're two just absolute uber competitors and two of the greatest female athletes in state history. But Sarah Ashley had an outstanding game with 21 points last night until the officials decided that she should foul out, to try to give Kim Mulkey a chance to win a game she had no business winning. But luckily, Karma won out, and LSU rightfully lost the game 88-85. But certainly, it was a big win for Alabama, as Scott pointed out to start the show, probably arguably in the biggest of Christy Curry's career, considering it had been 13 years since they beat a top 10 opponent. So a huge win for Alabama. And it was potentially, hopefully they'll host the first 2 rounds of the tournament, but it could have been the last game for that senior class inside Coleman Coliseum. And now they finished the regular season at Oklahoma on Saturday, as you heard Roger Hoover reference yesterday on the show.
Yeah. Hey, Drew, real quick, what do you see happening in Knoxville tomorrow?
Well, I mean, I think if Alabama can control the pace, if the game is, in the mid 70s or lower, I think Tennessee's got a great chance to win. But if I said the benchmark for me is if Alabama can get to 85 points. If they get to 85 points, it means A, they're taking care of the ball and they're not turning it over. B, they're likely controlling the glass and staying and keeping the Vols at bay a little bit. And I just think overall it probably means that they're being efficient and that certainly matching Tennessee's physicality. And I think if they're making shots, I think Alabama can win the game. I think it's going to be a tough game, though. It's going to be a tight game. But Alabama, if they're going to beat a great team like Tennessee, which is still in the mix for a 1 seed, and we'll talk to Vince Ferrara in a couple of minutes about this. But I think they need to win an 85-78 type game against Tennessee.
Well, I think if Tennessee can't score in the 80s, they can't beat us. And did you know Hattie B's was coming to Huntsville?
I did not.
I've not heard that.
Yeah. Yeah, they have one in Birmingham now. Is that what you're saying?
I get that gist because that's where Brandon was last night. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I didn't know they had.
I haven't been to that one. I've been to one in Nashville.
I've been to one in Nashville, yeah, but I've not known. I did not know they were coming to Huntsville. That would be interesting, Bryce.
Right.
Well, I'm glad I could break that for y'all. Then that was about 2 or 3 months about it. It was coming. I was thinking in late spring. I could be wrong. It might be summer.
Right.
But I've never eaten there. But I have some friends that have. They say it's just off the chain. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thanks for the heads up, Bryce. Thanks for the phone call as well. Let's get a break in because we were talking Alabama, Tennessee right there. Well, Vince Ferrara will join us from Rocky Top, get his thoughts on tomorrow's game.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A sunny sky this afternoon. Going to be a fantastic Friday across the Tennessee Valley. Maybe just a touch on the breezy end of the spectrum, but that's okay. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid 60s. We're dropping into the mid 40s as we head into the overnight early Saturday morning. A mostly to partly sunny sky Saturday afternoon. Once again, temperatures climbing into the lower 60s. Going to be colder Saturday night, early into Sunday morning. Temperatures actually going to drop into the lower 30s across the Tennessee Valley, and then colder through Sunday afternoon under a mostly sunny sky. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Tuscaloosa, we live by the blue-collar basketball motto.
Stepping back, deep three,
Hard work.
2-on-1, driving, stepping through, stop shot, got it to go.
Teamwork.
Playing the song for the champions of the Southeastern Conference.
Join us for every game right here on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list and maybe a little scary, but it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Hold your block until the whistle blows.
From SEC Media Days to the National Championship Game.
This was a great team win.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, coming up tomorrow, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Another busy Saturday of college basketball coming your way. Alabama traveling to Knoxville to take on Tennessee. And when you think of playing Tennessee, two things come to mind. Number one, is Tennessee's offense going to show up? If it does, in what form? And number two, when you play Tennessee, you better strap it up a little bit tighter because it's going to be a defensive effort. It's going to be a physical contest. Rick Barnes, excellent in between the lines in getting a team ready to play defensively on the court.
Yeah, I mean, they're a really good defensive team. We all know that. They got really good guard play with led by Zakai Ziegler, and Alabama has to find a way to contain him. Such great job with his ball pressure. He's improved every year offensively. We know Chaz Lanier has been a quality addition in replacing Dalton Connect for the Tennessee Volunteers. This is still a very tough-minded team. A team that is playing for a 1 seed. They're on the two line right now, according to Joe Lenardi. But beating Alabama could go a long way in getting them back in the conversation for a spot on the 1 line. They're both 23-5. It's going to be an interesting contest, and we're going to talk about it. He's just off of his morning show with John Wilkerson, Sports Talk in the morning, and that is our great friend at the Sports Animal 991, also part of the Vols IMG Radio Network. That's Vince Ferrara. Good morning, Vince. How you doing, Vince?
Good, guys. How we doing?
We're doing well, man. This is a big game. A lot of 1 seed chatter for both of these teams. Tennessee, they've been in this conversation like Alabama pretty much all season long. They had a little bump in the road, but so did Alabama. They were coming off a 2-game losing streak just about a week ago. This is the best league in the country, but a big game inside Thompson Bowling Arena coming up on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, there's no doubt in a lot of ways. Obviously, I think a little bit more for Tennessee because they're behind Bama in the standings. You're trying to get a double bye for the NCAA tournament. This league is hard enough to deal with twice a week, but then when you have to try to grind it day after day, when everybody knows you on top of that, it's hard. So you need to get that double bye. So Tennessee is a little bit more on the edge of that than Bama is. So look, the 1 seed discussion, it's a factor. There's no doubt because these are two of the better teams in the country. But I do think it might be overplayed just a touch because if you think about it, look what Alabama still has in the regular season.
Right.
With Florida and Auburn. What if they win this game and they lose those other two? What does this Tennessee game mean? Or the reverse. What if they lose this game and win their last two? then they can cancel that. Plus, you have all the great teams that you're going to play, especially if you win games in the SEC tournament in Nashville. So whatever happens, I don't think it's going to dock either of these two teams. And then you can undo a loss with all the opportunities you're going to have after that, or you can mess it up if you do win this game and then struggle after that. So it's not as much of a, I'm not saying you said it, but it's not as much of a, hey, the winner is going to be a 1 seed type of stuff. I do think that's a little bit overplayed, but high stakes, high level for sure, and will be a big time orange out atmosphere and sold out Thompson Boling Arena at 50 Center.
Tennessee comes in. I mean, they're 10-5 in SEC play, Vince, 23-5 overall. But how they got there, it has been as much of an up and down season. I think for Rick Barnes, it's one game, the offense is firing on all cylinders. The next game, boy, they better get back on their heels and get that defense going because the offense is not there.
Well, for a team that has the wins and the ranking that they've had all year, they've obviously kind of been criticized as much as anybody in that role. And look, rightfully so. There's times where this team does struggle offensively. The thing is, it's not like overall full games. The one outlier game like that was the Auburn game. And I guess Florida, they were terrible also. But that was everything was bad in that game. We had Jimmy Dykes who would be on the call from ESPN on our show this morning, late in the show, and I asked him, how do you view the slow starts for Tennessee? Because they've had a bunch of them. They did in Baton Rouge on Saturday. Really slow first half, and then they turn it up in the second half. Ziegler will get going. Lanier, and they'll play so much better in the second half of the game. It's pretty much been a trend most of the year. And I asked him, how do you view the slow starts? Is that a concern for them down the road? Or do you look at it as encouraging that they're able to make in-game adjustments and play so much better in the second half to where they can get themselves out of any tough situations? And he said, I don't worry about slow starts for them or SEC teams because everybody is so good, so well scouted. You're kind of feeling your way through early on, and for you to be able to have answers and make adjustments during the game on the fly, as opposed to the next day or two at practice, those are the teams that can advance, and you look at it as very encouraging. So he viewed that as a positive. He also correctly pointed out the comparisons to Dalton Connect. He said have been unfair to him. They're different players, and he still thinks, even though Lanier has come a long way for Tennessee, that he's still a work in progress in trying to adjust, but he's willing. He has gotten better, and he's figuring things out. And honestly, guys, the way he's figured things out is he's playing harder with more urgency to get open and fight through physicality and holding and things like that he's getting from opponents. He's also using his 2-point game, the mid-range on pull-ups. But maybe the biggest thing is he is a little bit more of a willing driver, and that opens things up for him from 3-point range. And Barnes wants to get him like around 20 shots a game because he's such a good shooter. But when he doesn't get open, they can't rely on that. And then one last stat on that subject of Lanier. Tennessee has only lost one game all year when Chaz Lanier has scored 16 or more points, and they're at 500 when he scores less than 16. So them having great success is connected to, no pun intended, to Chaz Lanier's success in scoring points for this team.
And as far as we know, Chaz needs to play well as a guy. They have a great backcourt. Who is kind of the linchpin guy, though, that's going to need to play well for Tennessee to get what would be a big win over Alabama on Saturday afternoon inside Thompson Boling Arena?
Well, for Tennessee, there's several guys. This team is not very deep, so they can't afford, especially their core guys, they can't afford too many of them to have off shooting, not just off shooting nights, but off nights and playing the right way. The first one that comes to mind is not necessarily from a point standpoint, but because of how great a defender he is Jemai Meshack. I think Jemai Meshack is gonna get to know Mark Sears even better than he's already has in the past, and he's gonna get a lot of time on Sears. So Sears needs to be ready for that, the physicality, and also because at times we've seen Sears turn the ball over, and that's going to be big in this game is who takes care of the ball, especially in live ball turnovers. So Meshack can also give you tip-ins. He's, the A&M game, he had a couple of tip-ins. There were two of the biggest plays of the game that helped them win on the road there. He has to take shots when they're available because teams will back off of him and make it tougher to defend other people. There's so many glue things that Jemai Meshack does. He is one. Another one, I think, is Felix Alpara. Alabama is so long and athletic. Rebounding is going to be big in this game. And Felix Alpara has been awesome with those lobs at the rim from Ziegler and the post. And he was perfect from the floor and the free throw line in the last game against in Baton Rouge against LSU. So I think them throwing the ball in the post to him on the low block, those lobs at the rim, the shot blocking that he brings you. He's an elite rim protector. And we know Alabama, they want to shoot threes and they want to score at the rim. So if you can take one of those away, I think it gives you a shot. If Alabama is having success at both, good night. Good luck with that. If Alabama is off in both of those, then that's when you could see them struggle a little bit more. But Par, I think, is going to be really big for them. I can make a case for Igor Milicic, who's so versatile. Jordan Gainey, who's their top six man who gets starter minutes. He was sick at LSU, so he didn't play much or well. There's plenty of guys that they need to play well. This team isn't deep enough to have one or two guys carry them.
Has Tennessee been able to control the turnovers for themselves for the most part?
Yeah, I think they've been pretty good overall. There have been little patches. Usually it's connected to their first halves, like against LSU. They had turnovers, and that's what brings their scoring down and their slow starts. It kind of comes in stretches for them, but it's not. I'd say maybe Alabama in some of their games has turned it over at a higher volume. The key, and Jimmy Dykes told us this too, is the live ball turnovers. Those are the ones that'll kill you, especially when you're playing Alabama, because they will get up in transition and score on you in a heartbeat, get a transition three on you. So those are the ones that really hurt when you turn it over live ball. But it hasn't been a game by game issue, just in spurts.
And then as we're wrapping it up with you, Vince, we appreciate the time. In your mind, what are the keys for Tennessee getting a win over Alabama? For me, for the Tide to win on the road, I think they've got to control the pace. It's got to be an up-tempo game. It's got to be a game played in the 80s, and I think 85 might be the magic number. What's the keys for Tennessee?
Well, it's interesting. Jimmy Dykes gave us an awesome stat during our show today about Alabama and how good they've been on the road, and you mentioned the number 85. Well, Alabama has 9 straight road games that they've scored 85 points or more. And
wow.
That is impressive to have your offense and points go on the road against some of the venues they've seen. Now, I will say this, the toughest teams that Alabama has played this year to this point, the two best teams, Florida and Auburn, have been at home. This will be the most difficult venue and best team they would have played. So also the best defensive team statistically that they would have played. So maybe they don't get to that. I think I think 80. You got to keep them sub 85. I think Tennessee can win if it's 80s or 70s. It's not like they don't want to run or aren't capable of running, but they don't want to speed the game up unnecessarily, especially with those live ball turnovers. So that is a big part of that. And tough shot making is another one that I think both of these two teams are good. I think Bama maybe has maybe shown that more with their offense and making tough shots. But Tennessee's got to be strong at the rim, man. They can't just be, just trying to lay it up light. They got to go with authority. And there's definitely been more of that in recent games in SEC play. So I'd say tough shot making, the rebounding, and then the live ball turnovers are going to be big. And I don't think this is a game where Tennessee can have a slow start. What Jimmy Tyke said is true, and being able to respond. But man, you could find yourself in such a big hole. You start to play out of your character, and Tennessee is best when they play inside out. And so them falling too far behind, want them to start to jack up too many threes and things like that. But they're better at home, so they usually find a way. It's a really good home court advantage if the ball's out.
Yeah. All right. Well, good stuff, Vince.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Alabama would like Tennessee once again to take 45 threes, but we'll see.
Right.
But great stuff, Vince. Let everybody know how to follow your coach. A lot going on. I know Vol baseball off to another amazing start, defending national champs. Tons going on. Let everybody know how to follow you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. At Vince Sports on all the socials, Twitter/X, Facebook, Instagram. John is in Houston calling 3 games that the Vols will play against better competition this weekend, undefeated at 8-0. But call it the home games for baseball again with John. And then on our website, 991thesportsanimal.com, you can find our podcasts, videos, all kinds of fun stuff there on what's going on with UT in the SEC.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Vince.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a great weekend.
All right, Vince Ferrara, kind enough to spend some time with us. Let's get that final break in. We'll wrap it all up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got one injury wreck working Pulaski Pike and Kelly Cemetery. That one's just been in for a few minutes, so it's going to be with us for a while. Had one in Decatur, 6th Avenue and 7th Southeast with some southbound blockage. That one should be clearing shortly. 251 northbound at I-65 in Athens should be out of the way pretty quick. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hey, do you have heating and air issues as the springtime starts to roll around? Hey, there's just one name you need to know. Talent Heating and Air. #1 heating and air business right here in the Tennessee Valley.
Yeah, we're locally based. If you call, you're going to get somebody based in Huntsville. Mentioned in spring earlier, we can actually do indoor air quality products, so we can help alleviate those allergy problems you're having in your house.
All right, Thomas from Talent Heating and Air, give them the number that when they call, somebody live and local will pick up.
That's 256-503-4490.
And you can always head to the World Wide Web and find Talent Heating and Air, and you guys will still respond.
That's talenthvac.com. If you don't want to talk to a person right away, you can fill out a form on there and get scheduled for a visit.
That's Talent Heating and Air. They're live, they're local. It's Talent Heating and Air.
AL certain number 21014.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Short time left here on our Friday morning edition of Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This is where we kind of dip in tomorrow's headlines, big things kind of coming up. Don't forget high school state basketball going on today and tomorrow inside the BJCC. So we'll be following that for the next 48 hours. And there's high school baseball going on. There's high school soccer going on. There's everything.
Yeah, and that's what Jimmy Lay is going to tell us. We got a big soccer game tonight, Jimmy, over at Westminster.
Yeah, it's actually Westminster's traveling to Springville.
They're traveling. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
The Springville Tigers, the two-time defending 5A champs, going against Westminster, the two-time 4A champs. They're both in 5A this year. We'll probably have to meet again in Huntsville in the semifinals. Westminster, the girls, I was just looking it up. They've won 5 state championships, I want to say, in the last 4 years. Boys got some work to do over there. They back-to-back state champions with the girls. Going at Springville tonight. It's going to be an exciting game. I'll have all kinds of video and stuff about it. But the girls are getting it done at Westminster, and boys they got some work to do.
Well, no doubt. It's going to be a big game. We're going to give a birthday shout out to West Neighbors today. Happy birthday to our patriarch. Happy birthday to Charlie Plott, great supporter of us yesterday. And, of course, my cousin Janet Latham, her birthday today as well. So giving some birthday shout outs. And as Scott said, 2A, 3A, 4A today in Birmingham in basketball. Tomorrow, 5A, 6A, and 7A.
All right, that's going to do it Monday through Friday. Don't forget, we're waking up with you guys tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. to 11. We're going to be from University Kia. We're going to try to sell some. Well, not try. We already sell Kias. We're walking billboards. We'll get you in a Kia. Don't worry. How about a Telluride? You want a Telluride tomorrow? Come out and we'll sell you a Telluride. I'm slashing prices. Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan, the right people to do your loan? Look no further than the Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the Vice President of Mortgage with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all